I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
You're tired.
Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Reaction Monday in the Doghouse. I am your host, Thom Abraham. Glad that you are with us. It's the All-Star break, and yet we are not at SEC Media Days. I mean, it just seems kind of odd. It does. I mean, I can't remember how many times that's happened in the last 19 years. I mean, this will be my 19th Media Days. 2004 was my first, and the All-Star game always seems to be when we're there. Now, that's not true. I actually went back and researched it. And it's not true because Media Days used to be later in the year. When I first started going to Media Days, it was the last week of July. I didn't realize it was that late in the year back in the day. But it was the last week of July. Now it's earlier. Everything's earlier. But I can't remember the All-Star game being this early. But, you know, we got. By the way, Joel Sherman of the New York Post has an excellent idea. I know a lot of times you think I poo-poo ideas because, you know, I'm that guy. I know what you're thinking about me. You think that I'm get off your lawn guy and I'm always pining for the old days. And
Get off my lawn.
No. I think this is an excellent idea. Sherman says make the All-Star game 25 and under versus 26 and over. Young Bucks against the older guys. I mean, we have so many great young players in baseball right now. I mean, how cool would that be? I mean, I think this is a fantastic idea. And then you get Ellie De La Cruz in the game. And Ronald Acuna would be on the under team. You'd have the unders against the ovaries. The old guys against the young guys. Old guys, 26 and over. I love this idea. As much as I am a traditionalist, I love this idea since there's nothing traditional about the game anymore anyway. I mean, there used to be a great deal of pride in the All-Star game. It was the American League against the National League, and the two shall not meet again until the World Series. There was only 2 times a year that you ever saw these people together. It was at the All-Star game, and then it was the World Series. That was it. It was the only opportunity for those who weren't on World Series contenders to play against guys from the other league. And the leagues were truly separate. They had their own umpires. They had American League umpires, they had National League umpires. Wore different uniforms and stuff. And they had different presidents. They had different league offices. Even the rules were different. The DH was in just the American League till a few years ago. And you remember the low strike? Remember the American League was the breaking ball, curveball type league. The National League featured the flamethrower. I say remember. I mean, I'm going back 25 plus years now when I'm saying this. 80s, 90s, and all before that. The American League was considered the high ball league. The National League was considered the low ball league. And so, like, if you had a National League umpire in a World Series or in an All-Star game, you'd get lower strikes called. It was just the way it was. Now all the umpires are the same. They're all Major League Baseball umpires. There's no more American League office, no more National League office, no more American League president, no more National League president. And the rules are all the same. So all of that is gone. I mean, even the teams wearing their own home and away jerseys and gear is gone. That was one of the glorious things about the All-Star game is everybody was wearing their own uniforms. The home team, the home league would wear white, and the visiting league would wear their grays or their colored tops or whatever. It's all gone. It's all gone. And thank God that contrived winning league gets the home ice in the World Series thing is gone too. Yeah, we didn't need that. I love this idea. 25 and under against 26 and over. Of course, tonight is Home Run Derby. Some of the biggest hammers in the game are on hand for it. I mean, there are some that I wish were in it that aren't in it. I'd love to see, like, Matt Olson in the thing with his 29 ding-dongs. Be cool to see, Freddie Freeman in there anyway, even though he's not a big home run hitter. But, it's nice to see some veterans maybe get in there. Pete Alonso is it's not a home run derby if you don't have Pete Alonso in there. I'll probably watch some of that if I get a chance. I'll watch some of that. Interesting night in the Valley last night for our minor league teams. The Trash Pandas won 5-1 in front of 4,424 people at Toyota Field, while the Huntsville City Football Soccer Club won 6-2 with 4,800 on hand there. So my first thought is 6-2 in soccer. I mean, that's like that 29-3 baseball game. Stop me if I'm lying. 6-2 in soccer is like a 29-3 baseball game. Secondly, I wonder how much shared audience there is for the soccer team and the baseball team. I mean, 9,000 people went to a game last night. What kind of impact did they have on each other's crowd? I mean, other than Grizz, who is just sports crazy. So other than Grizz, how many people had to decide which game to go to last night? Well, wait a minute. The football soccer club is playing in Huntsville, and out at Toyota Field, the baseball team is playing. I wonder which game I should go to tonight. I mean, is there shared audience? Of course, baseball plays every night. And the soccer thing is more like once a week. I'd love to hear from anyone who goes to both. I know Grizz does, like I said. But, I mean, I'd love to hear from anyone who, like, yeah, I love going to the soccer game and I love going to the baseball game. I go to both. Phone lines are open, 256-576-4977. Lots of room to get you in today. One guest. I've been doing this new one guest thing a day. I might go back to two, but I've been doing like one guest a day, giving you guys room to get in, which is a terrible time of year to do that because, we don't get a ton of phone calls in July generally. But, that just means more of me and Grizz. You could text the show, 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. Great way to communicate with us. My Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. Station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. We are on Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show there or on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube on our YouTube channel, WZZN TV. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Get the notifications. ESPN or 97.7ESPN.com has links to all of that stuff. And get our app, too. Get the Zone app, get the Blitz app, get the apps. So you get the links to all the other great programming. You're going to need it. You're going to need it, especially once football season comes around. We'll be featuring 5 games on many Friday nights. More than half the time, we'll have 5 games for you on a Friday night on our high school streaming network. You're going to want to check that out. Last week, I was skeptical about the Northwestern hazing story, remember? Since we had no idea on Friday what the actual hazing was, because hazing's a big thing. It's a lot of things. Throwing water on a kid when they're doing sprints and sprinkling them with baby powder is hazing. Harmless, it's hazing. Rookie show, hazing. Carry my gear in. Freshmen carry in all the lineman gear. Hazing. Harmless, but hazing. So I gave all those examples of what I considered hazing and was amazed that something like Camp Kenosha, which is a week of football training camp at a small college in Wisconsin, was being canceled over this. And then the longtime Wildcat player turned head coach Pat Fitzgerald got that 2-week suspension after saying that he knew nothing about this hazing. I know nothing. And now the whole sordid affair is coming to light. And it's just gross, allegedly. Because it may be a hit job by a former player. I mean, it's the stories of all this nakedness and running players and doing gross things, making them do things naked. And all of this lewd stuff that this, a former player is alleging, and then some others, a couple of other players are confirming, but then you've got the current players saying that's all a bunch of bunk. The guy's trying to get the coach fired. Look, in either event, this is definitely a future 30 for 30. I mean, if they don't have a 30 for 30 on this by the weekend, I'll be shocked. I mean, this is a 30 for 30 just begging to happen. And if the allegations are true, Fitzgerald's coaching career should be over. I'm going to do my best to flesh this story out, and then that's probably a poor choice of words. At the top of the one, David Gold of Inside NU, no relation to Eli, will join us from Chicago to tell us what he knows about this story. The former player has so much detail, and he's other players that have corroborated it. And then you got the current player saying that the guy is just on a mission to get Fitzgerald fired, and that all this stuff is made up. I mean, who knows where the truth lies? And if the university hired an outside law firm to conduct a 7-month investigation, how did they not know the whole story? And if they did, how did they come up with a 2-week suspension? The president, he says, okay, you're suspended for 2 weeks. Wait a minute. I got to revisit that. Are you kidding me? You're a rich private university, Northwestern's like Vanderbilt of the Big Ten. And you hired a law firm I'm sure you paid buku dollars to. This law firm, 7 months in investigation. And you come up with a suspension of the coach for 2 weeks. And then this stuff comes out and the president, well, wait a minute, I didn't know that. What do you mean he didn't know that? What did they investigate for 7 months? ESPN investigated it over the weekend. And they fired everybody. They don't even have any people left over there. And it was the weekend. And they investigated it. And they're getting into trouble. Yeah, well, the guy did this and it was naked. And we had to snap the, we had to do the under and dry humping. And I mean, why would you kidding me? And then the president coming off of a story in ESPN says, wait a minute, let me revisit this. What did you pay for 7 months investigation? All right, over there in the little glass booth, playing the platters that matter in the stacks of wax and answering the phones and having to make a tough decision last night as to which game to attend because he attends a game every night, everywhere, every single night goes to a game somewhere. Even if it's like kids playing in the park, he goes to the game. A little creepy, but he goes to the game. Coach Chris.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Grace, how long did it take you to figure out which game you were going to go to last night?
Not very long because I was immediately going to the soccer game. I mean, it's a one-time thing. There's 6 games of baseball that you can go to. I usually go to about 3 or 4, no 2 or 3 throughout the week, and Honestly, you could have gone to the baseball game at 4 o'clock. You probably could have dipped out a little early.
Ooh, a double dip.
Yeah, definitely could have double dipped.
Not even that early would you have to dip out.
No,
I mean, just a little bit early. Maybe you watch 5 or 6 innings of a baseball. I wonder if anybody did that. You think there's any person that did that? And if there isn't any person that did that, I wonder if these two teams would consider getting together on some day-night, twilight, doubleheader type action where you buy like a ticket. You get one ticket, and you get to go, like the baseball game would have to be at like 3.
Yeah.
And the soccer game at 7. So if you had a baseball game at 3 and a soccer game at 7, and you could buy a ticket, you could buy like one ticket and go to both games. And the teams would split the money. What's a ticket to the soccer game cost, by the way?
I think general admission is $10.
Is there anything other than general admission?
You've got obviously your different types of seats. You could buy, I think it comes out to being, I think it's $13. You can sit it in the fan section. And then
fan section. What's the rest of it called? If it's the fan section,
I mean, like, you know what I meant? The crazy fan section, the supporter section.
Supporter section.
Yeah.
Why would that be more expensive?
I think it's just because of different where it's at. Because it's all priced differently. So I think season tickets. It's like if for general admission type season tickets, it's like $10 a piece.
I gotta get down there. Is it all bleacher seating or is there?
No.
Is it all
there's
individual
really good.
seating?
There's the good fold down. Blue
How
chairs
much of it? 80% of it? 50% of it? Half and half?
Probably about 85% of it, because you've got the whole section along the wall of the old baseball wall.
Right.
That is
the third baseline.
Yeah, that is basically all padded seats, or like the little plastic seats. And then you've got
not padded, but
yeah. But then in the supporter sections, you've got 2 sections. So you've got one in the foul area in right field. You've got which is like bleacher seating that goes up into the stands, and then of course the supporter section is all bleacher seating in the left field foul area
across the way.
Yeah.
Those ones that are across the way from the
and
the
across
new
the way
seating?
of you, is all bleacher seating, and then
it's all bleacher seating across the way. Is that where the athletic supporters go? Is that where is their section that they
so
are
the supporters
in?
are in left field. They're in the left field.
Left field. So they're all the way down. So they're down. They're on the original stadium part.
Yeah.
Down the left field line.
Right at the left where like the left field pole used to be. So
which is near one of the goals then.
Yes, it's on the left side of the field. It'll be on the north side of the field.
Is that attack first half or attack second half side?
That was in the game last night. It was the attacking for us. It was our side in the first half.
First half.
Yeah.
Because I think you'd want to be in the attack second half part.
It didn't matter.
It would be more towards the middle.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter last night. Yeah, no, I mean, they were scoring on both ends. But, now, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be that far away from the action when you're in attack. You know what I mean? It sounds like you're saying they're 100 yards away for half of the game. They're behind, maybe at the goalie end, which I guess maybe that's good, too. Support that guy, too. How many people are in this? How many people are in the supporters? I mean, is that a huge section, or is it like, 80 people?
I would say probably about 80 people, yeah.
Oh, okay. So
it's not, and it's three different
the whole
groups.
Crowd should be like a supporter type thing.
Well, yeah.
It? I mean,
it's
the whole
like
crowd, aren't they
crazy,
waving?
They're the crazies.
They're the
ones. They're the ones. If you went to like a European soccer match, they'd be shooting off flare guns and cap guns and all this other stuff.
Yeah, but that's
they'd be
the whole crowd.
Like, they were shooting off smoke bombs last night when they were scoring. So
in Europe, that's the whole crowd, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You're saying out of 4,800 people there.
So how they kind of have it set up too, which I kind of wish they would do it, like I've seen in Rome, is where the supporter section obviously is heavily behind the goalie, and how the majority of the supporter section is in the left field line. They also have a section where you can buy tickets and you can sit on like this grass berm area that is literally directly behind the goalie. So for the first half, our goalie was on that side. So at the most of the time you're sitting there, you're sitting right behind it in the action. So there you have to watch out when there's shots and everything going on, shots on goal, not just shots. So
here's something that was confusing to me a little bit. I read the story about the game, and they referred to it as a third division game. They referred to the league as a third division game, which I thought was interesting because now I know that there's the USL, which is what Birmingham is in, and there's some discussion as to which league is more. But this league here Most of the players are under contract to Nashville or to an MLS team, just like they are in AA baseball. But my understanding is that these players go back and forth as if it was AAA. You know what I mean? As if it was, right there. But they referred to this league as third division, not second. First division would be MLS. Second division would be something right below MLS. I thought this was right below MLS, but they referred to it, and this was at the MLS Next site. They called it the third division team. So I thought that was interesting because these are all like Atlanta United 2. It was Orlando City 2, but somehow they consider this league third division, which would be the same as AA.
Yeah, and Adim Sipage, who was the first homegrown player from their academy, from Nashville SC's academy, was like he's playing for HCFC. He was playing there last night, and it's so weird that I guess if you're affiliated with that team, that still means you're in that AAA sense. You know what I mean? As long as you have that professional
but there
backing.
Must be something between the two. You know what I mean? What do they call second division soccer?
There's National Premier Soccer. There's major. There's USL. There's USL2.
I think it's USL. USL is considered the second division in America still. In the U.S., I think that's which again is confusing a little bit because the USL teams are not affiliated necessarily with an MLS team. Yeah,
well, anyway. Like you said, 9,000 people going to two different separate ball games. It was like that one night when on the first night the HCFC opened up, you had the Orion Amphitheater, a Trash Pandas game, everything going on that whole night. This city is obviously growing, and it's a huge supporter town.
So, but the question is, what percentage do you think that there's much of a shared audience? Do you think if it wasn't for they both had games, one or the other would have had 6,000 at the game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does it pull from either? Because other than guys like you, which is rare, I'm just saying, I wonder how many. That's why I'd love to hear from the listeners to say, yeah, I go to both. Because usually you're either a baseball fan.
Yeah.
Or you're a soccer fan. And if you're a soccer fan, usually you're nothing else. For the most part.
The PA,
people who are soccer fans are fanatical about soccer.
And I'm sorry I don't know his name, but the PA announcer, and I'm sure Steve Moulton could help me, the PA announcer is the same announcer for the Havoc games. So, it feels like a outside Havoc
Soccer
game.
and hockey actually go together.
You know what I mean?
No, soccer and hockey do go together.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are soccer fans are hockey fans. And a lot of hockey fans are soccer fans. For whatever reason, those two things kind of go together a little bit. Baseball fan... In my experience, baseball fans usually not a soccer fan, but I'd love to hear from our listeners if they want to weigh in on that. If they don't, 256-576-4977, 256-576-4977. When we come back, I want to get more into the Northwestern story because you might have missed it over the weekend as the story has begun to develop a little bit more, and so I may get into that. But otherwise, we'll get to the lines next. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, blast off.
Trash Panda Nation, ignite the fun, let's rock it.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas return home from the All-Star break on Tuesday, July 25th for another 6-game homestand at Toyota Field. Promotions include a Christmas in July night on Tuesday, a Trash Pandas rally towel giveaway on Friday, and kids get to run the bases after the game on Sunday. Reserve your seats now at trashpandasbaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either a Dave's Single, Spicy Chicken Sandwich, Medium Frosty, or 10-piece nuggets, you can get another for just $1. Your dollar never tasted so good. So it's obvious what everyone will get, right?
Definitely nugs
Spicy
and
chicken
a Frosty.
sandwich, Dave's Single and a Frosty for me.
And a Frosty. Okay, who said Frosty and a Frosty? Pick your obvious choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, buy one, get one for $1.
Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's valid for item of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined in a combo or any other offer.
Heading into your Monday night, expect a mostly clear sky. Low temperatures going to be falling into the mid and upper 60s for the overnight. Heading into your Tuesday, it looks like we're going to be seeing plenty of sunshine. High temperatures warming back up into the low 90s for the afternoon. A Tuesday night looks to see a mostly clear sky. Low temperatures falling back down into the upper 60s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford and the Service Department, which is second to none. They might be a little disappointed down there that a Ford did not win at Atlanta. Ford was going to win at Atlanta. They were extremely dominant at Atlanta. The Woody Anderson Ford Mustangs would have definitely finished probably in the top 5 spots in that race, but unfortunately, rain came. It ended early, and when it ended early, it was Byron was leading the thing in the 24 car, and Chevy won it. But I'll tell you what, Atlanta does not disappoint. Atlanta right now is as fun a race to watch as any track anywhere. The problem is the rain came, and it's always unsatisfactory feeling, you know, when a race gets shortened by rain. But what are you supposed to do? You don't race in a dome. You can't keep everybody there forever. I mean, it was torrential, and that was the end of it, and there was no end in sight. So, but the service department at Woody Anderson Ford, outside of being disappointed that Mustangs didn't win that race, they're there to take care of your vehicle, whatever kind of vehicle it is, and they'll do a tremendous job for you as well. Don't forget the certified gold pre-owned vehicles at Woody Anderson Ford as well. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com to check those out. I wholly endorse that. I've bought several. I'd have to go back and count them up. I bought several certified gold pre-owned vehicles from Woody Anderson Ford, and always happy with them. The last 2 I got were under 30,000 miles. My F-150 and my wife's Mustang, both under 30,000 miles when we bought them. Like brand new. Let's go to lines. Jason is up. Jason, welcome to the show. How are you? Jason, are you there? We lose Jason, Grizz?
He was still on. He probably had to leave.
Lost. Yeah, maybe.
I
Jason,
thought I was
call back.
hearing, like, the car moving. No.
Oh, okay.
No. Nope. I think we lost him.
Call back, Jason.
Fair.
We'll get you in. All right, lines are open, 256-576-4977. Grizz?
Yeah.
If I were to ask you, in this golden age right now, this new golden age of baseball.
Okay.
All right, if I were to ask you, who has...
I thought you were going to ask me about getting hazed or something.
No.
That's happened multiple times.
No.
I get a lot
You've
of people
been hazed
fired.
multiple times?
I get a lot of people fired. Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people will be investigating.
Let's get to that in a moment. But if I were to ask you, what's the number one selling jersey in Major League Baseball?
Oof.
What would you say? I mean, think about all of the guys that are out there right now. I know 99 hasn't been playing for the last month since he ran through the wall. But think about...
I mean, I would say Ohtani, maybe.
That would be a good guess. Ohtani.
Yeah.
Jose Altuve, Aaron Judge, of course. You know, Mookie Betts, Julio Rodriguez, the kid from
that's another one.
Seattle.
I was looking for the young guys.
Mike Trout.
Yeah.
How about
Ronald Acuna?
How about the number one selling jersey in all of baseball, Ronald Acuna Jr.?
Yeah.
Number one.
Kids love him.
Numero uno.
Why don't we talk about how he can't be the face of baseball? Why can't he, like, we're talking about Ohtani and everything like that, wanting him to be, like, more inclined to be the face of baseball. It's like, I get it. Like, it's an American sport.
Well, Ohtani is a unicorn. You know, that's why I don't think that he is. I think Aaron Judge is. To be honest with you, I think Aaron Judge is the face.
It would
of
just
baseball.
be. I would just be embracing if Ellie De La Cruz was the face of baseball. I mean, but he's only played like 30-something games, and everyone wants to crown him as the best of baseball.
Not even. He is unbelievable. Ellie De La Cruz is the next thing, man. I mean, that guy is absolutely. Did you see the video of him stealing home?
Yeah.
He stole second, and then he stole third, and then he stole home. He stole second on one pitch. He stole third on the next pitch, and then apparently nobody had called time. The pitcher's walking around. The pitcher gets the ball back from the catcher. The pitcher's walking around the mound, and De La Cruz kind of starts creeping down the third baseline.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking, and he just takes home.
So, I mean, Ronald
unbelievable.
Acuna was doing it earlier in the season when he was stealing third, stealing second, when people aren't paying attention. I mean, people are obviously like, I think a lot of the players obviously are embracing the new rules, and I think obviously it's better for, we can see that it's better for baseball. I think the only thing that I'm kind of like irking about and kind of
irking,
or not just kind of irked about, just kind of just, you know, when I'm looking at it, where these guys are breaking all these records, but they're breaking all these records because they're changing the rules to make it.
Yeah, but that's always been that way. It's been that way forever.
I get it.
baseball.
I get it.
You
It's
know what
just,
I mean? They changed the rule. They lowered the mound in 1968.
Yeah.
They changed the height of the mound. They brought in. It changed when.
so
they
we
brought
just get
in
into
night
these
baseball.
debates where who's the best, and you know, I mean,
all you can do is be best in class. Remember, when, you know, before there was night baseball, things were different, and then there was, you know, there's always been different rules, you know, that came along that changed things. But Ronald Acuna, I think the only reason Ronald Acuna Jr. isn't the face of baseball is he's a little punky. He's a little punky, right?
Yeah.
So he's still
Not
a
everyone
little
can love
punky.
him.
And I don't think a Dominican player can be. Shohei Ohtani seems very respectful that way, but I think that the face of baseball really is Aaron Judge. To be honest with you, I think it's an American kid. He can speak English. I think it's Aaron Judge is probably the face. The problem is he's not playing, you know?
Yeah.
And then so
it was like that with Mike Trout for forever, even though Mike Trout, like, I mean, I get it, like, especially last few couple years, he hasn't been the best in baseball, but it's still kind of like Mike Trout and others.
He can't play.
You know?
He can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, should that kid be? I mean, if Mike Trout never played another game right now, is he a Hall of Famer?
I would say no.
I think it's borderline.
Yeah,
I
mean,
really think it's borderline.
Yeah.
If he were to never play another game,
I mean,
is Mike Trout a Hall of Famer because he hasn't been able to be healthy in 5 years? He hasn't been healthy.
It's like when I'm sitting here watching it, and just after he signed that contract, I feel like it's just been kind of like a different player. It's kind of like with Bryce Harper. All you're getting is a guy that argues all the time, and everyone embraces this guy. And it's like a guy that strikes out, argues, and I don't think Bryce Harper's ever. I mean, I get it's a team sport, but I don't think he'll ever win a World Series because I just feel like that he just he causes issues. He's a problem for his team a lot of times. And when people Bryce Harper, because when people say the same thing about,
how is he a problem for his team? He led his team to the World Series.
I think people say he's fiery and all this other stuff, and I think he's just a whiner. I think he's a crybaby. I think people, when they talk about Ronald Acuna and the way he carries himself, he's a little punky. Like, I think he just plays with a little chip on his shoulder. I think he's.
I don't get that with Harper.
I think he's fun.
I think your bias is showing.
It's not biased.
I think it's
not
your
biased.
bias showing. I think you're showing your bias.
Phillies fans, Phillies guys would be saying the same thing about Acuna.
Well, they would, because they'd be showing their bias.
Yeah, well, they're worse though.
That would be their bias. No, I think Bryce Harper's fine. I have no problem with Bryce Harper.
Big hate him.
Let me see what Brandon wants. See if he's on topic here or not, or if he's going to take us in a different direction. Brandon, welcome to the show. How are you?
Man, I'm going to be on topic. I'm over here trying to sell a junkyard, but you were talking about people striking out. Well, how about Bubba Wallace's crew chief getting 4 or 5 races?
Did that just happen? I missed that one.
Yeah, I think it was last week he got suspended for 4 races.
What did he do? What did they do? What were they cheating for?
My understanding was that it was related to a prior event. Booty Barker, crew chief of the number 23, driven by Bubba Wallace, has been suspended for the next 4 Cup Series races announced Tuesday. Barker, along with Jackman Caleb Dirks, rear tire changer Adam Riley, are sidelined after the number 23 car lost its left rear wheel at lap 45 at Circuit of the Americas.
So they weren't cheating. This happens. This happened because of the because they lost the wheel off the car. I was on vacation then, so I must have missed it. He's the crew chief that's in a wheelchair. I think Booty Baker. He's the guy I believe he's in a wheelchair. I think is what the deal is there. But apparently the wheel bounced away and into the guardrail and into the chain link fencing and it's a rule now. Loss or separation of an improperly installed tire or wheel from the vehicle is an automatic suspension. So I don't think they were trying to cheat. I think they just screwed up putting a tire in.
Well, I was about to get there. I'm not understanding 4 races for a loose wheel.
Yeah, that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous. I don't know if it
comes out of nowhere and smacks somebody. You ever seen those videos?
Yeah, I mean, it could be bad. It can kill somebody. I don't know. They didn't even. It's the 5th time this season that a suspension has been leveled for a wheel detaching from a race car. It happened with Todd Gilliland, Corey LaJoie, Justin Haley, Kaz Garza, all resulting with that same decision. So it's kind of like an automatic deal. That's the rule. You get 4 games 4 races if you can't keep the tire on the car.
Okay, I was just looking at it and thought that it seemed a little excessive.
Yeah,
that amount, but I didn't realize they've had that many incidents of it as well.
Yeah, well, there's only one lug nut now. You know what I mean? It's like an Indy car. It has that one big lug nut in the middle, and you got to get that thing on there.
Mount,
back in the day, they actually used to cheat. They had to make a rule for it because you had 5 lug nuts on the tire, and they would put 3 on to be faster. They would only do 3, and they wouldn't do all 5 lug nuts. And they started making it like a penalty if you didn't put all 5 on. Now you got 1. You got that one big thing in the middle of it, and if you screw that up, the wheel's going to come off and kill somebody.
I saw that, and I know this show right here would be a perfect place to make this comment if I'm going to go off topic a little bit.
Yeah.
This whole Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, they're going to get in the octagon and fight if it's actually real like they say it is. I hope this is
like a fist fight?
Is that
what you're talking about, having like a fist fight? Oh, wow.
Like an MMA.
Oh, okay.
MMA fight. And they're going to get in the octagon and throw down. And, I want this to be celebrity death match meet NWO street fight. When they put them in there, I want to do Hell in a Cell. Let's throw some ball bats in there, a mace, whatever. Just let them go at it because these guys want to fight, and they're regular guys. They're not trained professionals. Yeah. They've not been doing it for years. And it's going to be weird to see what it's like if they actually do this, to see 2 regular CEO guys that probably trained for 4 or 5 months before this happens. Yeah. Get in there and throw down.
Look, let's be honest.
Guys look like.
The angst about Elon Musk that has come to surface since he took over Twitter is strictly an attack on him because he's conservative. I mean, let's be totally honest. That's all this is. This is just the left and the bleeding hearts out there attacking Elon Musk because they discovered that, before you thought maybe he's, it seems like he's a bit conservative, because he's got money, and people who have money typically are conservative because they want to, keep their money. And all of a sudden, it's like he put in these policies for Twitter, and they're like, oh, he is conservative. Let's attack him. Let's cancel Elon Musk now. I know a bunch of people jumped onto this Threads thing, and the last thing we need is more social media. I mean, do we really need to have another thing? Like 40 million people signed up for Threads, and when you look at the people that are signing up, I mean, the things that I see, when I see the people that are going to Threads, they're all lefties. We're going to end up with a righty social media and a lefty social media. That's the way it's going to be. Because people can't get along. They can't share their ideas like human beings. So.
I just hope that they have a really, really good throwdown when it happens. I mean, it needs to be
just.
I hope they broadcast it on Twitter and Facebook where everybody can watch it for free. I mean,
it'll be on Peacock.
What do y'all give it? 2 rounds? You think they'll make it 2 whole rounds?
No, you got to go. It's got to be 3 rounds, 2 minutes each. They're not going to fight. I mean, it'd be ridiculous for them to fight.
Just give me the show Celebrity Deathmatch.
If you got as much money as those guys got, don't you hire somebody to fight for you? I mean, you don't fight. You hire somebody. You got a guy. You should have a guy.
That's why I'm interested. That's why I'm interested to see what happens with that. I've been seeing the tweets back and forth, the mouth running, and I'm like, God, this could be so great, but it's probably going to be a flop. But I really hope that it would be.
Last thing I want to do is see either one of those guys with their shirts off. So
I don't know if they do enough Roy with professional trainers between now and then. You might be amazed.
Never
Mark
know.
Zuckerberg does like karate or jujitsu.
Oh, does he? Yeah, but he's not in this fight. Right? Is he? Or is he? Is he the guy that's in this fight?
Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
okay.
Zuckerberg. Yeah, Zuckerberg does like karate or like jujitsu or something.
All right, Brandon. I want to hear. I want to hear about Chad's hazing. That's what I want to hear. I'm surprised we didn't hear it. Thanks for the call, Brandon. That's a good job by you. Chad.
Yeah.
What hazing did you go through?
What was the worst hazing
you ever got?
It was just upperclassmen type stuff.
Yeah, but what did they do?
Yeah, just
that's the definition of hazing. But what did they do? What did you have to go through?
I'm good. There's some stuff that will remain secret. It's some stuff that there's some.
Did it involve nudity?
No. So
Jeez,
it was
hesitate.
It was. I was trying to think for a second. No, there was a couple times where you had to. Obviously, you would see like if you got disciplined, there'd be times where like obviously you do like bull in the ring type situations, and I think there would be times where guys would mess up and they would get taken. They would get basically, you know what I mean? They would get treated like because they maybe smoked a cigarette or something in high school. You know what I mean? Like it was type of that mentality, and it was always like the upperclassmen were frightening. Like when I was a freshman, but by the time I was a senior, I was more, and everybody else too was more of like we're your buddy, like we're on your team, like we don't want to demoralize you completely from hating the sport. You know what I mean? But it was also like a character building thing where it was at the end of the day, we did care about you. It was a team. Like we were very disciplined in our actions. So there was a lot of times where you kind of like, it was pretty borderline where how they talked to you or how they treated you. But it was also like, it was a lot smarter how it was carried out.
There's nothing that somebody could say or treat. I was always extremely confident. So there's nothing that somebody could say to me or talk to me in a certain way that would bother me. I'm not a guy that could be verbally abused. I mean, you can say whatever you want. I have always been very, very big on you choose your own attitude. Nobody chooses my attitude. So I choose my attitude. I'm going to choose how I feel about something. You can't make me feel bad. It's like, they hurt my feelings. You can't do that because I choose my attitude. So it's never been that kind of stuff has never bothered me.
I've been around. Obviously. I wasn't. There's kids in high school that are probably doing the same weird, crazy stuff that we used to do when we were younger. And there's some level of hazing, obviously, when it comes down in the different years. And then there's obviously levels of like, respect too when it comes to the younger classmen. And I think when our class got a little bit older, it was like the junior class above us was way nicer than the class above them. And I think it kind of was like, you could see eventually everyone was like, all right, we're tired of this crap. Like we don't need this. But I get it. I agree with you. Carrying people's pads, doing types of stuff like that, like that's
the field.
That's not.
You guys
that's respect.
You guys have to clean. You walk off the field, and you tell the freshmen they have to clean up the field, bring in all the
whole team's got to run because
yeah.
somebody jumped off sides 4 times throughout practice. Yeah. Like, it's not because they're picking on you, but if you're out there saying racist stuff, or you're out there like calling somebody homophobic stuff, or you're doing like all this like spraying water bottles at their private parts, like doing like little things that like would irritate you. You know what I mean? Like
you could spray the water bottle at their private parts if they have clothes on. Not when
they're
naked,
if they're butt naked
in the locker room. No, not naked in the locker room. I mean, that would be bad. This is what came out. And this is what blows my mind about this story. All right. So a former Northwestern, this is from ESPN, former Northwestern football player came forward with allegation of widespread hazing within the program, spoke yesterday, Sunday, with University President Michael Schill, who is considering now a harsher discipline for Coach Pat Fitzgerald. Let me just stop right there. Sunday, 7-month investigation resulting in the thing. Sunday, a former player talked to the president. Sunday. Anyway, the former player who spoke to ESPN on a condition of anonymity said that he told Schill about the hazing he witnessed and experienced at Northwestern, much of which he said was sexualized. See, this is where it gets different. Schill said in a letter sent late Saturday to Northwestern community that he had to reassess the 2-week suspension Fitzgerald received Friday. And so, was it Sunday or was it Saturday? Anyway, the former player said Coach Fitzgerald, Fitz absolutely knew about the hazing in the program. Fitz absolutely failed by not intervening. Fitz knew, and he should have made it stop. And if he truly did not know, he should not be the head coach. Either way, he should not be the head coach because he's not monitoring and protecting the safety and well-being of the student athletes. Now, it goes on to say the university's investigation led by the attorney, blah, 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 found that while the former player's allegations were largely supported by the evidence, coaches did not know about ongoing hazing. Although they had the opportunities to discover and report problematic conduct, the school did not release specific findings. Northwestern players on Saturday released a statement of their own supporting Fitzgerald, saying that he had no knowledge of the alleged incidents and that the accusations from the former player were exaggerated and twisted. So now you got current players saying that the former player was telling stories and exaggerating this. The former player said Sunday that Schill was extremely receptive to his accounts of hazing within the program and offered him resources to deal with the trauma. A current player who asked to remain anonymous told ESPN on Sunday that the former player, whose hazing allegations late in 2022 launched this investigation, informed him of a detailed plan with the sole objective to take down Fitzgerald. The current player on Sunday relayed a conversation he said he had earlier this year with the former player to University of Northwestern University trustees and other influential university figures. Quote, he just kept emphasizing, yeah, it'll be okay. I'm just trying to get Coach Fitz fired. I don't think he ever acknowledged what he's saying is not true. It's just like, I might embellish or exaggerate to get Coach Fitz fired. He said his sole goal was to see Coach Fitz rot in jail. The truth is that none of this stuff happened in our locker room. That's what the current player is saying. The current player. He was thinking he could do the same thing with Coach Fitz if he went to the Daily Northwestern and went public with it. Told of the current player's account, the former player said he wanted to, quote, absolutely seek action to get Fitz out of the program. But that he had other objectives. I want to shed light on his heinous, illegal behavior, the former player said. I wanted illegal behavior out of the program. This is absolutely barbaric and egregious culture that ultimately lies on the shoulders of the head coach. The former player told ESPN that hazing was organized and widespread in Northwestern's program led by a group of older players called Shrek Gang, the Shrek Gang. The group would lead hazing activities called running, usually against freshmen or younger players who had to make mistakes in practices. According to the former player, older players wearing masks would retain the victim restrain the victim in a dark room and engage in sexualized behavior. The player said he was run as a freshman, basically like dry humping him. They have been held down against their will by numerous upperclassmen with masks on and have been violently dry humped in a dark room. This is Title IX stuff. This is sexual abuse and sexual assault. I don't know why the university isn't making these details public. A former player said Fitzgerald signaled for players to be added to the Shrek's list. That the head coach, with a specific clapping motion during practice. I'm clapping over your head right now, Chris. He said he saw Fitzgerald make the motion at least 5 times since 2020. He would be smiling menacingly at the individual who messed up while simultaneously clapping his hands over the head of in this specific manner. Our head coach communicating that this individual did something wrong and needs to be put on a list and hazed accordingly. The vast majority of the team would then join in following Fitz's lead, the former player said. The current player told ESPN that the team starts practices with slow claps, but has never seen Fitzgerald engage in the clapping as a signal. The former player said that there would be a whiteboard in the locker room and that the running would then take place at certain times of the year, including Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, for the overweights.
The former player sent ESPN a photo of the whiteboard headlined Shrek's list, listing the names of players as well as bulleted items that included naked slingshot.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's not good. Naked bear crawls. That sounds painful. Naked center quarterback exchange and naked pass rush.
That was the one that, this naked center exchange. That was, what?
I hope it was a shotgun at least. Anyway, he says that was in the middle of the locker room for all eyes to see throughout my entire time in the program. I say it with 100% certainty that every single individual who ever came in this program between 2020 and now has seen the whiteboard in the locker room. Every single player in this program in the last 4 years knows what Shrek is and knows about the hazing that occurred. The current Northwestern player told ESPN that he never heard of Shrek's list. And he never seen a whiteboard in the locker room. And if Fitzgerald stays out of the locker room, telling the players that the locker room belongs to them. I mean, how different can this be? I mean, it's crazy. The former player outlined other instances of hazing where players had to perform naked acts in the locker room, including mimicking the center quarterback exchange. He cited the car wash in which naked linemen soaped up their bodies and blocked entrance to the team shower. He also described the Gatorade Shake Challenge, in which 3 freshmen were forced to drink as many Gatorade shakes as they could within 10 minutes. What? I never saw someone not violently throw up either during or after the challenge. I've seen freshmen forced to participate get sick from the tradition for a number of days following the event. My gosh.
Isn't it weird that Northwestern seems to always be in the news for something like college football related with like their union players, the issue with the NCAA football game, and now you've got this whole issue with back and forth and back and forth. Well, it's also like it seems like also where everyone at ESPN ends up going too. Like Wilbon's gone there. I know that Northwestern is obvious. I think
they came
Greeny
from there.
didn't Greeny.
Greeny's a Northwestern guy.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing though. Another former player who played for Fitzgerald earlier said that he saw the Gatorade Shake Challenge. He saw the car wash. All right. A second former player mentioned other instances in which the players were coerced to doing naked pull-ups and other things in a gym during a preseason camp in Wisconsin at Camp Kenosha. And that kid said, "Did I feel comfortable? Not really, but I felt like I had no choice. Some people thought it was fun, while other people thought it was wasn't a cool experience. It was very traumatic. In that sense, it does point to a culture that there's a fine line as it pertains in this team bonding. Is it team building or is this hazing?" And then you got the current players saying none of this ever happened. So he either has to be fired or these kids if this is all, it's not fake. They're not lying. Let's get a break. Come back and set you up for hour number 2, maybe sneak a call in. It's Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
And we'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is the only place for Drew DeArmond, Wes Neighbors, and of course, Thom Abraham.
I never met him, but I hear that he's a man of character.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Let me stick Harry in here quick. Harry, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Tom, I'm doing great. Just 2 points for you very quickly. I think
Yeah.
that was very insightful that you compared hockey and soccer in that both of them have some of sports' most contested subjective calls called offsides. Offsides in soccer, they fought wars over. And offsides in hockey, I had to watch it 5 years before I could figure it out because people climbing over the bars, climbing over the rails, climbing over, changing sides. It was awesome. But it took a while to figure it out. But I think it was spot on pointing out that soccer and hockey have that in common because I think that offsides in both of them are subjective calls. And in soccer's arena, they fought a war over it. Number 2 point.
Go ahead.
40% of your show has been a discussion on something that I don't believe merits even talking about on a talking show with your distinction, this Northwestern thing. It's going to get sorted out. It's just something that pops on the news band because we're waiting for SEC football to start and there's nothing else out there happening. It'll come to light what happened over time, but hell, you've investigated it for 7 months and nobody can make up their mind yet on who said what to who.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for you, Tom. Most subjective call in sports is soccer, offsides, and this thing on Northwestern is going to sort itself out. But all those sportscasters that are national level, most of them have gone to that Northwestern Communication School. You have a great day, Tom, and it's good to see you back.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, Harry. You know, the reason it's a story is because a major, well-respected college football coach is under attack. I mean, he's going to get fired. He's going to get fired. And the kid that was the former player, you know, when asked about the current team come into the defense of the coach. He said, obviously, people are going to come out and publicly support Fitz and publicly oppose hazing, but of course, there would be this response because most of the individuals within the program are either perpetrators or bystanders. He's absolutely right. I mean, we're witnessing a crash and burn of a well-respected coach. We'll be back. Talk more about it next with David Gold of Inside NU on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Associated Press reports disgraced sports doctor Larry Nassar, who was convicted of sexually abusing female gymnasts, was stabbed multiple times during an altercation with another incarcerated person at a federal prison in Florida yesterday. Nassar, serving decades in prison, is in stable condition. A former Northwestern football player who came forward with allegations of widespread hazing within the program spoke with University President Michael Schill yesterday about the hazing he witnessed and experienced at Northwestern, much of which he said was sexualized. He told ESPN's Adam Rittenberg Coach Pat Fitzgerald absolutely knew about the hazing in the program, failed by not intervening. Schill's considering harsher discipline for Fitzgerald, who was suspended on Friday for 2 weeks. Fitzgerald said in a statement on Friday he had no knowledge of hazing activities within the program.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
I wanna thank you. Thank you for making us your number one choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis's trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back, hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. Glad you are with us. This segment of the show is brought to you by our good friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Whether you're in Tennessee or in Alabama or in Florida, North Alabama Mortgage has the right product for you when you're looking at refinancing or maybe purchasing a new home. And on the refinance front, I just remind you that, maybe, those rates did shoot up in the last year. They've kind of stabilized now, even come down a little bit. But they're still way lower than the rates that you're paying on those credit cards that you have. You can eliminate credit card debt and pay it off with the value that's in your home, because what is also up is the value of your home. And North Alabama Mortgage can help you with a home valuation. So check that out at NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. Brian Hammaker and his team, they're caring folks, they're neighbors, and they're here to take care of you. It's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. All right, I got to be honest with you. We don't talk a lot of Northwestern football here in the Thom Abraham Show down here in the Dirty South. We just don't. We talk Big Ten, but it always seems to be confined to Michigan, Ohio State, maybe some Penn State worked in there as well, but not very much Northwestern. Now we're talking about Northwestern because of this heinous story, the story that broke last week, and I was kind of poo-pooing it on Friday, saying, what's hazing? Hazing is a very wide definition. And now over the weekend, we got some more details, which are very sordid, and it kind of changes our impression of this entire story. So we go to David Gold of InsideNU.com, and we'll talk to him about it. No relation to Eli Gold, as far as I know, and he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. David, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me on.
No relation to Eli Gold, right? Our fine broadcaster of Alabama athletics.
Nope, not any relationship. Although I will have to say, I did make the trip down to Tuscaloosa for Super Regional Softball for the Wildcats and the Crimson Tide, and it was one of the most amazing experiences I've had.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, this time of year, it's a little bit a little tough with the weather. I mean, it does get a little bit miserable, especially down there and in Tuscaloosa, but that's good. I'm glad that you were down here for that. Nice quiet time before, Big Ten Media Day, before camp opens, and then all of a sudden, this bombshell hits. Before Friday, was there ever any innuendo or comments or anything else about any kind of potential trouble within the Northwestern football program other than the fact that they had one win last year?
Truthfully, we thought the real question would be how many wins do they get and whether or not we were talking about Pat Fitzgerald being on the hot seat for performance base at the end of the season. We never saw this coming. When the university announced the investigation in January, it was a story, but I reached out to my sources, hadn't heard anything, radio silent out of the university. We asked Fitz about it at a few press conferences, was told that he has no say and it was not a question for the football team or the athletic department. And then Friday, we got the announcement from the university with the 2-week suspension that the investigation found evidence of hazing in the program, although the executive summary released by Northwestern was 50 at best. They said that there was hazing, but they couldn't point to an individual coach or player who participated in it. Coaches didn't know, but they should have. So right away, some flags started to go off. So that's when my tremendous colleagues at InsideNU and our student newspaper, the Daily Northwestern, really dug into the story, and that whistleblower came forward and kind of took it from there.
Well, the thing on Friday that indicated to me that this was maybe bigger than the way it was being purported is that, Pat Fitzgerald got the 2-week suspension. I get that. But canceling Camp Kenosha? I mean, I was a college football coach. These types of things are really important. I mean, this was all an above board thing. It wasn't like it was the Junction Boys. I mean, this is Camp Kenosha. It's at a university. It's all laid out for Northwestern. It's tradition. They've been going there for over 30 years, and it's team building and all that other kind of stuff. Canceling Camp Kenosha, to me, was a pretty significant thing. But what I don't understand is how does 7 months go by, all that money spent on this investigation with attorneys and everything else, and then over the weekend it goes from being one thing to being something totally else where there's all this, as if the president had no idea what the actual hazing was until he talked to the whistleblower over the weekend.
Well, that's all of our questions that we're still trying to figure out is what did President Michael Schill know and what led to this decision? Because based on my sources and what I've learned, the whistleblower did speak to investigator Maggie Hickey. We just don't know what she said. The problem with Northwestern being a private institution is they are not legally obligated to release the investigation. So that is what I'm trying to find out more is what did Maggie Hickey know? And the other question is, did they try to sweep this under the rug? Did Northwestern go, okay, we see stuff, but it was no one releasing the report. We can suspend Fitzgerald 2 weeks, which, by the way, comes in the dead period of NCAA. You cannot contact recruits. No recruits can be on campus, and you can't hold practice. So he was going to get a 2-week unpaid vacation instead of a 2-week paid vacation. It was a slap on the wrist punishment, and it looked like that to us, and that's how this story went from very worse. So now the question is, what did Michael Schill know that led to this decision, and what does athletic director Dr. Derek Gragg know, who we have not heard from since last Friday?
Yeah, I mean, it became amazing over the weekend because I was thinking, hazing is a big word. I mean, that could be a lot of things. That could be dizzy bat races. That could be, sprinkling kids with baby powder when you hose them down and making freshmen carry into gear and clean up the field. That's hazing, in my mindset. And, I never heard of some of this stuff that the sordid details that came out in this story. And if that stuff is true, and it's hard to believe that this kid, this ex-player, which was somewhat corroborated by some other ex-players, that all of it is made up, and so you've got the story from the ex-players, and then you got the story from the current players that are so completely different. It's mind-boggling. But if that stuff is true, even 80% or 50% true, Pat Fitzgerald's done. I mean, he's out of a gig, right? I mean, you can't even keep him around.
I actually think that there will be a way. I don't know how, but I actually do believe that Pat Fitzgerald will be on the sideline for Northwestern at some point. Not in 2023. I believe he will get a year-long suspension. Mm-hmm. But this university, I was talking about with my colleagues yesterday, Pat Fitzgerald is Northwestern University. He is more Northwestern than Michael Schill will ever be. He was the player that led Northwestern to its only Rose Bowl in 1995. He won the best defensive player in the country twice, and then he's been there for 18 years and has led them to 10 bowl victories, the most ever. And as Northwestern looks to build a new stadium, which the Evanston board will look to vote on in the coming weeks, Pat Fitzgerald still has a lot of support from alumni, including, most importantly, the biggest booster, Pat Ryan. Pat Ryan has been silent on this. I've reached out to Pat Ryan for a statement. I have not heard back at this point. But until I get confirmation that Pat Ryan wants Fitzgerald out, there's a part of me that will always be skeptical that Pat Fitzgerald will remain on the sidelines for Northwestern. Now, about the allegations, my great colleague and Inside U editor-in-chief Bradley Locker spoke to a former player today who just confirmed the idea of the car wash and the runnings that have been documented and detailed throughout the thing. What I did find interesting, though, is there was a lot of nuance in that article where the player said he thinks Fitz knew, but I think Fitz thought it was team bonding based on how all the players talked about it because they would laugh and talk about it. Mm-hmm. He said it was interesting. He said if a player went to Fitz and said that they had felt violated, he thinks Fitz would have stepped in.
Well, what about the issue of Fitz actually calling for certain, code reds, if you will, to quote a great movie? What about Fitz calling for the code red on certain guys based on this clapping that they would do at practice and this whiteboard in the locker room? I mean, that's something that's very specific, and you got a former player corroborated by another player saying that it existed, and then you got current players saying, I've never seen a whiteboard in the locker room ever, and Fitz never comes in the locker room, and nobody ever saw this board. I mean, it's so specific, some of the he said stuff. It would seem to be, if it came down to that, where Pat Fitzgerald was somehow implicitly involved in, having certain players hazed. I mean, look, he may be Northwestern. Nobody was more connected to his university than Joe Paterno. Joe Paterno is Penn State. They took a statue down and basically purged any memory of him from that university on something that he had some sort of side knowledge of. And that, of course, is a different thing. That's a pedophile and Jerry Sandusky. I get that. But some of the stuff that's listed in this story is really heinous, right? I mean, you would agree that if it was true, it's really heinous. And then the kid says, well, of course, nobody on the current team is going to mention it because they're either, involved in it or they're bystanders of it. So it's You know what this is? This is a 30 for 30 that's just writing itself. You know, about 10 years from now, we'll see the 30 for 30.
Many of in our talks, we're trying to be. This is the most plot twist of all time. Now, while the Daily Northwestern and ESPN's Am Rimberg have seen the photo, I have not been independently able to verify that photo exists. However, I trust Rimberg and I trust the Daily Northwestern that it exists. We don't know. The class from Fitzgerald has been said that he may have. And this article from Bradley says that this player says that they were, but that we have been unable to verify that is true in any way besides what the players have said. So the class thing is still up for more information. Hopefully we will find out more soon. This is some of the worst stuff I've ever read in my life and have had to learn about. It's incredible. The car wash thing that we've now learned has been going on since 2007 at the earliest. Pat Fitzgerald took the job. 2006 was his first season? There's a chance this has been going on his entire tenure at Northwestern, and nobody said anything over 18 years. Makes very little sense that either there was not explicit cover-up by the former president, Morty Shapiro, Jim Phillips, so the last AD, who, by the way, gave Fitzgerald a 10-year contract after he made the Big Ten championship, which is a whole other conversation that can be had about that massive contract. But there's a lot of questions still to be answered by not only Pat Fitzgerald, Derek Gregg, Michael Schill, Maggie Hickey, the investigator, has a lot of questions to answer, because my question with the investigation right now is how thorough was it actually? Because if all this is coming out now, is it not in the report? And we don't know the report. But that's is it in the report that players were being spun around by naked players entering the shower and then hitting with a hose? That 8 to 10 upperclassmen were restraining a younger classman if they made a mistake, and then they were being, I don't know what I can say in this close, but a sexual act towards them? Right. We don't know what's in that. Now, for all we know, Hickey got these claims and vetted them through everybody and could not find corroborating evidence. It's possible, but that feels unlikely.
That's what was blowing my mind, is that 7 months worth of investigation by a law firm and the millions or however much, the tens of thousands of dollars that were spent on the investigation, and all this information comes to Schill over the weekend. You know, I mean, it's come on. I mean, and let me just say this too. The head coaches, having been in the locker room, and I spent 11 years doing it, the head coach has the least amount of information, but the head coach has some information on everything, and it starts with the GAs. The GAs know the most, right? And then the position coaches, and then the assistant coaches, then the assistant head coach, and then the head coach. It's like a little bit gets left out as it goes all the way up the ladder. But there's no doubt that folks on the staff knew everything that was going on. And the head coach is responsible to the staff. And I can't believe that guys on the staff wouldn't have gone to the head coach and say, hey, our guys are getting a little out of hand. You know, when we were at Kenosha, they're doing this car wash thing, or they're dry humping a guy in a dark room and blah, blah, blah. It's got to be. There's no way that he doesn't know anything. And so my concern is that if Pat Fitzgerald said he had no knowledge of this, is he lying as bad as what was going on? Part of it is him lying to the investigation or to the president or to whoever it is that he has told that he had no knowledge of it. If it comes out that he did have knowledge of it, even passing knowledge of it, then he's withholding information from his own administration. That's a bit of a problem.
Then he's gone. If we know that Pat Fitzgerald knew something, he's gone. There's no doubt in my mind. And even if he didn't know, how? And that's the question. Have you lost that much control of your locker room that you don't know what's going on in that locker room anymore? And Fitzgerald, when I came to Northwestern, I had a ton of respect for him. What he's done at the program is nothing short of incredible based on the talent, the admission standards. It is hard to get a kid into Northwestern. Like, we've seen it this year. A kid almost didn't get in based on his ACT scores. The question is, for Fitz, who talked about culture and the Wildcat way and how he does things, when we talked to him after the 1-11 season, the thing he kept saying is the locker room stuck together. well, what was going on in that locker room?
Yeah, that's a good point. David Gold with us from Inside, and you talking about this Pat Fitzgerald story coming out of Northwestern regarding the hazing and what he did or did not know. Do we have any idea why the former player, all we know is former player, current player, everybody's anonymous, the current player says that the former player is just strictly just told him flat out he's out to get Fitz fired. That's all. He wants to get Fitz fired. He wants him to see him rot in jail and all of this other stuff. Other than, I don't know, what could be so motivating to that former player that he has this vendetta against Coach Fitzgerald? Does anybody know why he would have that much of a red ass that he would be after Fitzgerald?
We have a strong inclination and idea based on who we believe the whistleblower is, but I'm not able to reveal that at this time.
Okay. All right. All this stuff is going to come out. There's so much opposite type. It's amazing when this story comes out how it's going to happen. And again, the former players are absolutely positive that Fitzgerald knew and was even involved in it, in as much as this whole issue of clapping over a player's head and as I said, calling for the code red. I mean, it's just crazy. When is Big Ten Media Days? By the way, we're going to SEC Media Day next week. When is Big Ten Media Day?
I will be there. Well, we'll see who's there for Northwestern, but Big Ten Media Day is tentatively scheduled for July 26th. So Fitzgerald's original suspension would have ended the Friday before Big Ten.
Okay. All right, so which is basically like a luncheon or something in the Big Ten. I mean, down here, it just means more, David. We're going 4 days, and I hope they don't make it 5. It's going to be SEC Media Week when Oklahoma and Texas come in. Hopefully they won't do that, but we go 4 days of this SEC Media Days thing. But the Big Ten, wow. I mean, I don't know who they would send, and if they send Fitzgerald, if his suspension is up, there's no way. There's no way that this isn't going to at least be expanded. The president, Schill, he has to at least expand on this suspension at this point. He can't just blow this information off. It's too toxic now.
No, and he did send a statement out late Saturday night, and just for PR purposes, if you're ever sending a statement at midnight on a Saturday night, you didn't handle it correctly the first time around.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
In this statement, he said, Coach Fitzgerald is not only responsible for what happens within the program, but also must take great care to uphold our institutional commitment to the student experience and our priority to ensure all students can thrive during their time at Northwestern. Clearly, he failed to uphold that commitment, and I failed to sufficiently consider that failure in levying a sanction. I took that to mean I messed up. We're going to handle this now. And I would expect at minimum 4 games for Pat Fitzgerald. And I don't think he gets fired. I really don't. I'm so cynical when it comes to this program because anyone who goes 4-20 over 2 years normally is fired in Power 5 football.
Yeah.
But my personal thought is we will not see Pat Fitzgerald on the sideline in 2023 for the Northwestern Wildcats. I believe it will be a year-long suspension, and I believe that his contract will be reworked into a much shorter deal.
Even with the 2-week suspension, the original 2-week suspension, like you say, which is basically during the deadest of dead times for the season, did they name somebody? I mean, usually you got to have somebody's in interim. Somebody's responsible for the program during that time. Did they ever name anybody? And if this does get extended into being a year-long thing, is there somebody on this staff that is fit to take that gig because if Fitzgerald knows, they all knew. I mean, this is what's going to be bad about this. Everybody knew. The whole staff knew.
The only thing that Northwestern can hold their head on is they hired 5 new coaches this season. So
those guys don't know.
Those guys don't know. So former North Dakota State defensive coordinator David Braun is now the DC in Evanston after Jim O'Neill was let go. Christian Smith is now the defensive line coach. Armand Ben, who was at Cincinnati for a few years, is now the wide receiver coach. Chris Foster is the new running back coach, and Marcus Hicks is the new DB coach. So the Cats' defensive staff will be intact this season. We reached out to Northwestern because of the dead period. They did not tell us they named an interim head coach. So my guess is they were just hoping that in the 2 weeks it would be done and it wouldn't matter. But we were having this conversation with our staff, and we believe that it'll be either offensive line coach Kurt Anderson would step in, or my belief would be special teams coordinator Jeff Jenick would be the choice. He's been on staff the longest and would probably be the one to step in that role. Being the special teams coordinator, he would have the least disruptions to his usual role.
So you got 3 legit national championship contenders in the 10 with Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. This is going to be the biggest story of Big Ten Media Day, right? I mean, this is to me, this is the thing that there'll be the most buzz about and most inquiring questions about, more about the program that went 1-11 than the programs that go 11-1.
Yeah, so much for my questions about how A.J. Henning will transform the offense, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, nobody cares about that anymore.
Yeah, no. I think we're still wondering who Northwestern will send to Media Day. If Fitzgerald is suspended, there's no chance you're putting him in front of the media.
Oh, no.
And you also send players. So what players are you going to send right now in front of the media and have a 19, 20-year-old answer all these questions that need to be answered? But they're tough questions for a 19-year-old to have to try to weave through, especially with it coming down to what does your head coach know? You can't get. You're going to get a letter that says from the school that says that the situation will not be discussed. It's an ongoing investigation, and the kids cannot comment on it, and nobody will comment on it. And every time somebody tries to ask the question, they'll say we are not at liberty to comment on that, and they'll be coached as to exactly what they say. I bet you'll get nothing. It'll be completely ongoing investigation again, which again. Somebody screwed the pooch on this 7-month investigation with this attorney. I mean, that's the thing that's mind-boggling to me. Somebody's covering up something, because it took about 2 minutes over the weekend between your website, the school newspaper, and ESPN to come up with all of this detail, and apparently 7 months, meant nothing in the investigation leading up to it. Yep, right now we are still waiting on to know. There's so much he said. The one that interests me is this current player who says the former player was only out to get Fitzgerald and went to the board of trustees about it, which means he had to have physical evidence to show the board of trustees that this person was twisted and exaggerated. Otherwise, at this point, the word is no good. Right. So on both sides, still almost wondering about that. I've reached out to my sources inside the building to see if I can get any more information on it. But right now, the only thing I can say is we don't know. We do not know what the status of Pat Fitzgerald is. We don't. Well, talk about a fall from grace. The man was up for the Green Bay Packers job a few years ago. He was talking about being coach of the year in 2020 when Northwestern finished in the top 10 in the AP poll. The man hasn't won a game in the United States since October of 2021. True. If we want to talk about football, I know this story doesn't even matter what their football record is, but this is now a question of was a losing culture created because they weren't nurtured? Players were afraid? There's so many questions regarding not even Pat Fitzgerald and what it means for this season. What does the culture of Northwestern football look like moving forward? And say Pat Fitzgerald is gone, what does Northwestern football look like? We don't know. Yeah. I mean, it has to be completely. We just don't know. Yeah, completely cleaned out if that's the case. And like I said, what tipped me off was the whole thing about Camp Kenosha being canceled, being halted, because that's bigger than the 2 week. The 2 week suspension is one thing, but ending a tradition like that, which is supposedly simply just a week of training camp to kick off things, and it's a very detailed, organized type thing. I mean, it's not like I say, I don't want to use the old Junction Boys thing from Alabama, or from Texas A&M lore back in the Bear Bryant days. This is not, the Junction Boys. This was a legit camp. It was like an NFL camp. It was like an NFL camp experience, taking a team away, doing some team building, but this isn't the way you do team building. So it's crazy. Go ahead. So the Daily Northwestern, who's done a phenomenal job all week, just published a story saying that 3 former players have come forward saying Northwestern football had a, quote, culture of enabling racism. And we just got a statement from Northwestern spokesperson John Yates saying the alleged racist commentary and behavior toward non-white players by Coach Fitzgerald and members of his staff would be entirely unacceptable and inconsistent with our culture and values if true.
All right. There you go, David Gold. Breaking news during the interview. So new details coming. So just to be clear, you said racism towards the white players. Is that right?
Non-white players.
Oh, non-white players. Okay, non-white players towards non-white. But the majority of the team, the vast majority of the team.
Yeah,
that's what always blows my mind. Yeah.
On the record from Ramon Diaz, a Latino offensive lineman, the Daily Northwestern has a quote from him. Well, has a thing from him saying the offensive line coach at that time used to tell him that he had to be good. He must be good at cleaning houses. Not great.
No, you can't be saying stuff like that. You can't say stuff like that ever, but you certainly can't say stuff like that in 2022. That's just a whole nother story. But this is what happens now, right? When you start unrivaled, yeah, but it was 22 and, because of last season. It was unrivaled. My producers told me, it's 2023, Tom. And I'm like, no, I know. But this was going on during the season. But see, this is what happens, David, right? You pull one thread, and now all this other stuff starts unraveling. Now you got racism in the program, and now you got the car wash, and you got all the other sordid hazing going on. Now it's a racist. Now everything gets cleaned out. You watch. I mean, now it's just a complete redo. All right, man. I appreciate you, David. Sorry that we met under these circumstances. I'd love to call you and talk about Northwestern football, but chances are here in the SEC we wouldn't do that.
If we ever want to talk SEC football, it's always wanted to do a little swing down south to do all the games. It looks incredible. When we walked by Brian Denny when we did softball, I went, this is, compared to Ryan Field that's like falling apart, this is a mecca.
Yeah. Welcome to the SEC. Well, it just means more. What can I tell you? That's what we like to say down here. But with Northwestern's playing a bowl game against a big SEC team, then we'll get you on to set that up for sure. All right, man.
If Northwestern goes 6-6 this year, it'd be the perfect recap for the craziest 30 for 30 of all time.
I'm telling you, it's a 30 for 30. It's a movie of the week. Well, no, probably not movie of the week. This would be a little too sordid for that. It's probably going to have to be. Who knows? I don't even know if they could do 30 for 30. This thing may have to be on HBO or on Cinemax or something like that, this story. This is crazy. All right, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you.
Breaking as we speak, 3 former Northwestern football players described a culture of enabling racism. All 3 players who played for the team in the late 2000s also corroborated some of the hazing allegations that have been reported by the Daily Northwestern on Saturday. Ramon Diaz Jr., a Latino offensive lineman for Northwestern from 2005 to 2008, said his experience on a football team was hostile as a non-white player. I didn't feel like I could be anything other than white, Diaz said. We never felt like we could be ourselves. We had to fit in by being white or acting white or laughing at our own people. Another player who asked to remain anonymous and played through the 2009 season said racism on the team was blatant. He alleged that Coach Pat Fitzgerald would ask black players and coaches to cut off longer hairstyles, including dreadlocks, so that they were more in line with what Fitzgerald called the Wildcat way. All right, let me stop right there. It wouldn't be the first football team to have a hair policy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So let's not get crazy now about that, because whether you're a white guy that's got long hair or a black guy that's got dreadlocks or whatever your long hair is, a lot of coaches don't want the hair hanging out. First of all, it used to be you tell them not to do it because you can get tackled by it.
Yeah.
Because it's legal to grab the hair and tackle. Secondly, anybody that's watched Alabama football for any number of years knows that the players that have dreadlocks, they're allowed to have dreadlocks, but they've got to tie them up. You remember, a lot of times you'd see it like in a stocking, or somehow they would be tied up. You never see an Alabama player running around with just his dreads hanging down to the middle of his number.
Plus, I know you always had to like wet your hair to make sure you got the correct dimension on your helmet. So I would think that has to play in a factor too to make sure that you're properly protected. It's not like a skin based color. It's based on skin color. It's based on safety.
Yeah, and black players and coaches cutting off longer hairstyles. We had that when I coached. We had a certain standard that we were expected to adhere to. And look, the New York Yankees don't allow facial hair or hair past their collar. You know what I mean? So is that racist?
They made their bad boy do it.
Yankees don't allow. Well, that wasn't their bad boy. That was the bad boy for.
But still, he was wearing the Yankees.
Yeah, they made him tuck his hair, and they say, "Hey, tuck that hair. You're wearing a Yankee uniform. You don't wear your hair like that." But the New York Yankees, are they racist because they say you can't have long hair and facial hair? That's not racist. That's for everybody. The player said this phrase, along with good, clean American fun, was used often by coaches to reference how they wanted players to look and act. The first anonymous player said that white players who had long hairstyles were not asked to alter their appearances. Well, if that's true, then that's a problem. I doubt that that's true. I think if you're a white player and you had hair like Clay Matthews, for example, that you would have been asked to put it into a ponytail or tuck it up into your helmet or whatever it is, you know. So I would say I would be shocked if that was true. Okay? We're you know. Those are two phrases that you would hear a lot around the program that referred to the sentiment of fall in line. If you were not in line with the Wildcat way, Coach Fitz or any of the other coaches would be quick to say, yeah, check your scholarship.
I mean, are we not having that over in Colorado right now where it's like if you're not here, you don't be like, this is my program, get out the door? I mean, how is this any different?
I think that's different. I don't think he's telling them that they can't act black.
But I mean, like there's a culture, obviously, like you just said just a few minutes ago about how what coach, like you said, Alabama, what coach or what other program has not been like that? I mean, it's a form of like
Iowa went through this a few years ago. It's just not geared towards. You know, black players may think that they're being singled out for it unless they let white players have long hair, and
I see.
You know that would be different. I mean, if you let the white player having long hair, how could you know?
I saw one breaking. It said it was outlining rap battles that were happening between players. So I mean, like rap battles, like you're dissing each other to be on a common bond and be funny. This used to be on TV. This was televised rap battles going back and forth. This is. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Second anonymous player, former offensive lineman who was black, told the Daily a similar story about Fitzgerald asking a member of the coaching staff to cut off his dreadlocks. The racist stuff, the stuff that refers to how black players are treated, in my mind, that was a form of hazing. Oh, come on. It's not hazing. Fitzgerald's agent did not comment. He declined to comment on this story. University spokesperson John Yates told the Daily that the university was not aware of these allegations. The alleged racist commentary and behavior towards non-white players by Coach Fitzgerald and the members of his staff would be entirely unacceptable and inconsistent with our culture and values if true, Yates wrote in an email. As we do with any allegation, we'll immediately address the accusations and findings will be considered. The second anonymous player agreed, adding racism was central to the program's culture. There was a certain culture of enabling racism and other microaggressions that I had to experience, and that other offensive linemen that were people of color had to experience. Yeah, this is all unraveling. The fact that I'm still going to a therapist and talking about these things after more than 10 years is indicative of the mental health state I was left in. Now you're getting a little bit. Choose your attitude, young man. Choose your attitude. You shouldn't have to go to a therapist for 10 years because somebody told you had to cut your dreadlocks off. I didn't even watch a football game again for almost 5 years after I left Northwestern. It was that negative of an experience for me that I didn't want anything to do with the sport. Your blackness was not allowed to shine through, whether it was how you carried yourself all the way down to your hair. Blackness was not allowed to show through. Diaz said he heard the same coach tell a black teammate to stop wearing certain hats because he wasn't in the hood anymore before calling the way he walked a gangster walk. We told our players they couldn't wear any hats other than ours. We told our players that when you were in the facility or when you traveled, you could only wear St. John Fisher College hats or Cardinals hats. You could not wear the hat of a different school or the U or the Yankees or anybody else. That you had to, if you were wearing a hat, you would wear our hat. You represented our team. That's what we told them. Was that racist to say that? To say you got to wear our hat? I don't think so. All right, let's get a break. Way over time here, man. We got to get this thing cleaned up. I got something I think is really funny that I want to play audio-wise, which I'm going to play if we don't have calls when we return on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Heading into the All-Star break, Atlanta's still the leader to win the World Series at plus 375. Tampa's plus 550. The Dodgers plus 600. Two-time home run derby champ Pete Alonso enters tonight's Major League Baseball home run derby as the clear-cut favorite to win the event. He's at plus 300. He's aiming to become the second player in baseball history to win the Derby 3 times. He's followed by 2019 runner-up Vlad Guerrero Jr. at plus 360. First-time participant Luis Robert Jr. at plus 500. Last year's winner Julio Rodriguez is at plus 600. Dolis Garcia plus 700. Mookie Betts plus 850. Randy Arozarena plus 1,000. Adley Rutschman at plus 1,400. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
The best place to get 50s diner-style homemade delectables is Bubby's Diner. Located at 8412 Whitesburg Drive Southeast, try their all-new expanded breakfast menu with homemade waffles, omelets, and shrimp and grits. With 3 generations of experience, Chris Bubby Belcher has the best burgers in town. Don't forget to leave without a homemade pie or a hand-spun milkshake. Give Bubby's a call today at 256-513-8080. Bubby's Diner, home of the donut burger.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas return home from the All-Star break on Tuesday, July 25th for another 6-game homestand at Toyota Field. Promotions include a Christmas in July night on Tuesday, a Trash Pandas rally towel giveaway on Friday, and kids get to run the bases after the game on Sunday. Reserve your seats now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Segment of the show brought to you by TOC, the fine folks at the Orthopedic Center. Take care of any orthopedic injury that you have, any part of the body. They have got specialists for everything at TOC. And they've got locations all over the valley. I mean, just check it out. There's a TOC not too far from my voice. If you are listening anywhere you are listening out terrestrially. If you're listening online, not so much. But terrestrially, anywhere you listen, you could find a TOC if you need them. Whether it's a sports injury, an aging injury, a work injury, they can take care of it for you at TOC. Check them out. That's TOC. All right. By the way, one of the stories in that more recent story now has to do with hazing. A player, Diaz, says that he was forced to shave Cinco de Mayo into his hair, into his scalp, when as part of hazing, where freshmen had to put some sort of a saying or something in their scalp. So if they told him, all right, you gotta put Cinco de Mayo on your head, he could say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll do something else. But it was a tradition where freshmen would shave messages on their heads. Some of us is a little bit, the topics of most of these conversations with my therapist are around my self-worth, which is a very common outcome for someone who has been under psychological control and manipulation and abuse. No, I'm not going to make light of somebody's, mental health, but a certain amount of responsibility, you got to take a little bit of that yourself, a certain amount of it. All right, Grizz, lines are clear, right?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I was actually talking to LSU Lynch, but he had to go back to work, so I thought he was going to get on.
But that's fine. He'll like this.
He's got a great basic training story that he might tell us later.
Okay. Hopefully he's listening. Can I lighten up the mood a little bit, Grizz?
Yeah, please.
I want to lighten up the mood a
dark
little
Monday.
bit. Yes. It's been
Moody
a dark
Mondays.
Monday. Let me lighten up the mood a little bit. You've often heard me talk about bocce ball, which is also called lawn bowling.
Yeah.
At times, right? And are you familiar with bocce ball?
Yes, I know what it is. I've never played it, actually, but yeah, I know what it is.
Balls the size of softballs.
I've hit them, but, not really played.
Yeah, you roll them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like shuffleboard, or not. It's either like shuffleboard or like what's that? Curling.
Yeah.
It's like curling.
Yeah, curling. Yeah.
There's a thing down there, a palina down there, they call it, and then you roll your ball in there and you try to get your ball in there. Well, this is really, really big in certain parts of Europe, and they actually have it on TV. It's a true story now. I'm not making this up. They have bocce ball, or lawn bowling. They call it lawn bowling. They have bocce ball on TV, and they cover it with play-by-play and color. And this is some actual play-by-play from a bocce ball tournament that was being aired on TV. And the play-by-play guy is doing his thing, and the color commentator is losing it. This is real now. I'm not playing you. Are you ready? Take a listen.
Willie Wood there, youthful crowd in today. They're all massive Willie fans.
Big crowd.
Willie needs to find a good length here. Oh, perfect length, Willie. The crowd love to see that. Perfect, Willie. Now, David Bryant here. He's always been very wary of Willie, as David, particularly since last year's memorable final when Willie came from behind and stole the glory. Looks like David's decided to go round the rear here. Oh, good shot there. And this leaves a hard one for Willie. He does like to spit on his balls and polish them before he puts them into play.
Listen to the color guy.
Come on, Willie. Here he goes. There's David sucking on his pipe. Willie's stroking that one out there. Good bit of stroking, Willie. Beautiful, Willie. Beautiful. Both his balls just where he wants them. And he's absolutely determined to hold his end up here. And are you going to keep this up all night?
For God's sake, stop it.
Stop what?
You must be doing this on purpose.
I don't know what you're on about, mate. I'm just concentrating on this very important game here where the winner, I can tell you at home, goes on to play the winner of our next match, Johnny Cocksmith versus the German Helmut Scheiner. Two massive semis in one day for you here. And what?
Listen.
What?
Color guys,
like, what did I say?
What?
You know what you did, sir. You know what you've done, sir. Didn't know I couldn't do that. Apparently, there's a documentary called Breaking Balls on Amazon Prime. It's about bocce ball.
About bocce ball.
Yeah.
They cover it. They have a big crowd. The guy that was sucking on his pipe actually smokes his pipe while he's playing.
That's awesome. I would love to.
Sucking at his pipe.
I would, can we just go back to the days of just seeing? I mean, we did see a coach, I guess, light up an e-cigarette or a vape on the sideline. Can we just see a guy just rip a cigarette, a Marlboro Red, or a 52 or something? Or is that just promoting smoking and that's
they're
just
not
bad?
allowed anymore.
I mean,
stop
being
Have you ever seen the famous picture of Dick Allen?
Yes.
In the dugouts, he's got a heater going. He's got a couple of balls. He just hit a home run. He's got a heater going, and he's in the dugout. And he's just kind of walking down, now players, they do these stupid celebrations and they put on goofy hats and stuff like that. Back then, you'd hit a home run, you come back to the dugout and fire up a heater. I mean,
just see a guy rip a stogie, just having a cigar.
In the locker room, I posted a picture years ago, not that many years ago. I posted a picture of halftime at the Super Bowl 4 halftime. And Len Dawson is in the locker room.
Great picture.
He's sitting there, and he's got a nail going. He's got a spike going in the locker room. And this I just finished Joe Namath's book from 2017. I haven't been reading it since 2017. I mean, I just finished the book. I read. Usually, I focus on one book at a time. I read 2 books at the same time.
Yeah.
Because of the vacation. I read Joe Namath's book, and then I read a book called Dining with DiMaggio or Dinner with DiMaggio. Dinner with DiMaggio was fascinating, and then Joe Namath's book. And Joe Namath's book was like his whole life, but he writes the book during a time where he's watching Super Bowl III on his tablet, having not seen the game in years.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's really cool, and it's done in 4 quarters. And as he comments on the game, and then he goes into some story about his past, and then he comments on the game again. So he was talking about the locker room. And how the locker room was, at a Super Bowl when you had extra time and it was a longer halftime. And he says, a lot of guys would just go and light up and they'd be having a cigarette. And it was like half the team smoked.
Yeah.
Everybody smoked back then. He smoked, he said. Joe Namath said he used to smoke.
Crack
and it was
a beer.
the culture of the 60s. Yeah. I mean, who knows about that?
Crack a beer, sit back. I mean, I feel like that. I mean, I know runners will crack open a beer right after a solid run. So, I mean, it's got to be good for you.
Anyway, yeah, it's beer in moderation is not a bad. Just like wine, in moderation, it's not a bad.
It's food.
Food, yeah, I suppose. I got stuff I didn't even get to. When I get back, I got to tell you about the Spencer Tillman tweet because I thought it was phenomenal. I want to get that off my sheet. The rest of the stuff I can get to tomorrow. There's a WWE NIL connection. I want to get into that. 33rd Team website, 33rdteam.com, ranked all the NFL uniforms. Want to get into that. The strange Bob Huggins story. Want to get into that. And Wemby, how about Wemby? He sucked on Friday night, was terrible on Friday night, and then was great.
Yeesh.
Yesterday, he made the Hall of Fame in the Summer League. By the way, those Summer League uniforms are better than most of their regular uniforms. I mean, I'm loving the Summer League uniforms. The Summer League uniforms are sweet. Kid had 28 points yesterday, whereas on Friday night, he was terrible. He couldn't throw it in the ocean. All right, we get a break. We'll come back and wrap it up next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Corralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Corralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show, wrapping it up with the anthem as always. So Spencer Tillman sent out a tweet, which I thought was fascinating. All right, listen now, Grizz, listen. Pay attention.
What?
I know you're always multitasking. Pay
What?
attention here.
Okay.
You got too many jobs. You just need to focus right here on this one. All right, listen to what I'm going to say. All right, Spencer Tillman with an excellent tweet. 36 accused of spousal abuse. 7 arrested for fraud. 19 wrote bad checks. 71 can't get a credit card. 119 involved in 2 bankruptcies or more. 3 did time for assault. 14 arrested on drug charges. 21 defendants in lawsuits. 84 arrested on DUI. Is that NBA, NFL, or college football?
I've actually heard this before, and I don't want to ruin it. It's NFL, isn't it?
No.
It's not?
No.
I mean, not the NFL. Is it not?
No.
I know I've heard this before, but tell me. I guess I forgot already. I know I've seen it or something. I've heard it.
It's the members of Congress.
Yes, that's what it was. It was a video. Yeah, okay.
Of Congress.
Yep.
Which is something to consider because we always talk about athletes as thugs.
That's right.
We're always kind of just like, oh, these athletes, oh, they're thugs, oh, they're this, they're that, right? 435 members of the U.S. Congress.
Yeah.
36 accused of spousal abuse, 7 arrested for fraud, 19 wrote bad checks, 71 can't get a credit card, 119 involved in at least 2 bankruptcies, 3 did time for assault, 14 arrested on drug charges, 21 defendants in lawsuits, 84 DUIs.
Crazy.
And that's our U.S. Congress. So all I'm saying about that is, we hold those guys in high esteem. We're always kind of holding those guys in this high esteem. Be careful who you hold in high esteem. Because the things that we see our athletes doing, it's not just our athletes. So there you go. All right, tomorrow we'll have a Top 10 Tuesday. We'll get into some of these other stories. Did you watch any of Wemby? I'm stunned at how skinny he is. I mean, he's shockingly skinny.
He'll be like
I don't know how he
Giannis and
doesn't
get
break
big.
his legs running up and down the court.
He'll work out like Giannis and get big. Look at Giannis when he was younger.
He was not that skinny. This
but
guy
he was
is
little.
Fundamentally skinny. He's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar skinny, and that's probably going to be the best. Did you see him go between his legs last night?
He's a guard.
My gosh, 7'4", and he's got that kind of handle. Holy mackerels! All right, that's going to do it for us. Coming up next, it's the Paul Feinbaum Show, and maybe Paul is back, maybe not. I don't know. And then The Drive with Wes and Steve. It's all right here on your home for everything. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sun.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama.
Alabama!
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hotty toddy, who's it gonna be? Cowbells and swamp, the ag is wrong. There's nothing like the